hidden, full-on scared. And I crawled down a stack of pots, and I went into the wheelhouse, and I said to the captain, I said, dude, OSHA? And he looked at me, and he points out the window, and he says, ocean. I'm like, no, I get it, but come on, aren't you worried? Your crew's working in the most hazardous conditions I've ever seen. And he said, look, son, guy's my age, he calls me son, I love that word. He says, look, son, I'm the captain of a crab boat. My job is not to get you home alive. My job is to get you home rich. You want to get home alive? That's on you. Who in the world would say that in the lower 48? What kind of boss in 2009 would say that? But let me tell you what happened. I walked around for the rest of the day on that boat like this. I was as safe and mindful as I've ever been. In that moment, I got it. Safety is about personal responsibility. The minute you start thinking somebody cares more about your well-being than you, you're in trouble. Safety is critical. It's critical. I'm just not sure it's always first. Peripateer. You guys see the episode in Colorado, by the way, when we castrated those lambs? Yeah! Dude, you're a little too enthusiastic about that. This was a huge deal. I called the Humane Society, and I called PETA. I normally, I'm not on either one of their Christmas card lists, but I called them because I wanted to understand the right way to do this job. Castrating lambs on a G-rated show on the Discovery Channel, you gotta be kind of careful, So I say, look, what's going to happen? What's the right way to do it? They said you take a rubber band and you put it over the lamb's business. And the flow of blood is slowly retarded. And over the course of a couple of days, the lamb's business will fall off. Very simple. I said, oh, okay. We can probably put that on TV. Let's do that. So I go to Gunnison. No, I don't. I go to Craig, Colorado. And I meet a wonderful guy named Albert Villar and his wife, Melanie. They're sheep ranchers. And we round up the sheep and we put them in the pen. And you saw just a quick clip of it up there. I'm standing by with my rubber bands. I'm ready to put them on the lamb's business. Melanie picks up the lamb and puts him on the post. Albert steps in, reaches into his pocket to pull out one of the rubber bands, except it's a knife, and he flicks it open. I'm like, whoa. And he grabs the thing, pulls it out, and boom, very quickly he snips it off. I'm like, oh no, dude, what? And before I could say anything, he exposes the testicles and bites them off. And splits them in a bucket. Now, at this point, I say, cut, stop, everything. Well, not cut, exactly. Too late for that. But I just said, stop. What are you doing? And he said, no, we're essentially doing what we do. I'm like, no, what about the rubber bands? What about the rubber bands? And he said, no, we don't like those. I'm like, we have to do it the right way. Because you want to see that? Melanie puts up another lamb, puts on the rubber band, puts the lamb down. The lamb's like going, takes a couple steps, poor thing shaking. Takes a couple more steps, shaking some more. This lamb's in distress. Walks over to the corner of the pen and just sits down and shakes. I said, Albert, how long is this going to go on? About 2 days. What? 2 days. Meanwhile, the lamb that he just undone, not a care in the world. No blood, right? Craziest thing I'd ever seen. And I realized again, boom, peripateer. What if PETA doesn't have it exactly right? I don't want to pick a fight. But what if? What if the Humane Society isn't looking at the whole picture? What if OSHA isn't looking at the whole picture? What if Greenpeace and the Sierra Club don't see the whole picture? Right? What can we learn from people with 30 jobs? I I've learned enough to fill a book. I just haven't had time to write it. But I do have time to come here and say that there's no way in this world I can learn all of this stuff and realize just how wrong my label was and how misunderstood I've been about the very things that I believe and have believed about work.